Hello everyone, there is a very interesting pattern beginning to set up starting this weekend, which could feature lots of snow events, especially for the eastern US and central US. In the west, it remains temperate and quiet, but maybe that changes soon too. Lots to go over in this video. We'll be mainly talking about this weekend, as there has been some really interesting trends, especially for portions of the southeastern US, which there's possibilities where portions of northern Florida could get some snowfall and flakes 2 years in a row after the last year's Gulf snowstorm that happened all the way down to New Orleans in Louisiana. So lots to uncover. Let's get right into it. So we'll start out with surface analysis as of 18 Zulu today, Thursday, January 15th, 2026. And there's some features to note. Over here in the Dakotas, right near Minnesota, got a little low pressure, slight warm front, slight low cold front. This system will watch as it drops further south. But besides that, I mean, some overall just high pressure in the west. You have a ridge. And since it is Thursday, you officially have your trough really dig deep in the east. See these cold fronts? This is what kind of helped to introduce that colder air, and it has been chilly over here in the eastern U.S. as that pattern sets in. So with that, let's look at the alerts and indices. So kind of going through the portions of the north central U.S. where it's honestly most active. First in the Pacific Northwest, constant dense fog advisories. We've seen this time and time again in my past few videos, and it looks like it's going to continue as you have some low clouds and fog. Typically when the surface is colder and above it's a little warmer. Now, almost like a small shallow inversion, temperature inversion. Central U.S., especially north central U.S., it's interesting. Well, on the first southern tail, some red flag warnings as it's windy and dry. Over here in this kind of gold color are high wind warnings, and then just east are wind advisories in this like sandy type color. And then winter weather advisories in the purple for the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Iowa, all associated with that same low pressure I talked about that will be dropping south. These are all indices with that. Further to the east, some frost advisories frost advisories in the southeast. Northeast, Midwest, you have some winter weather advisory, winter storm warnings, all mainly with the lake effect. Here in this like teal color-ish, you have some lake effect snow. Some special weather statements over here in Indiana, including big cities like Indianapolis, mostly related to winter weather. Go south and east, and it's interesting. See all this kind of color? This isn't actually special weather statements. Okay, I should have clarified this is likely not special weather statements either. These are likely hazardous weather outlooks, I think. I could be wrong. Okay, special weather statements. So, mainly with snow. Same low pressure that's dropping through central U.S. So, you have special weather statements here as well. In the southeast, we're going to have some interesting weather. Let's just take it here in the Piedmont of South Carolina. Special weather statement, relative humidity. There's fire danger. So, fire danger is the main right here. But there's something else I want to talk about. It's the cold. Already have some frost advisories in portions of southern South Carolina, portions of Georgia, freeze warnings through southern Georgia, through entirety almost of Florida, not the western portions because it's been cold enough for freezes multiple times there. And look at those frost advisories extending all the way to South Florida. I mean, this is all the way down there, like all the way down. Miami is like right on the edge. You can see that right here. It is going to be cold. 46. So here it's a little does it show that frost 46, likely because you're coastal and a little more in. So frost, cold weather advisory. So 42. So iguanas are probably gonna freeze. Okay, or what do you call it? Like pass out. Okay, so cold weather advisories. Sometimes I get them mixed up. Frost advisories or more of the light blue-ish. Okay, so these are all cold weather. So it's gonna get cold. This dark indigo, though, I was right. These are freeze warnings. So this is where temperatures will be below freezing. At or below. In Orlando, I mean, people going to Disneyland, it's going to get cold. I mean, tonight, 33 could easily dip below, especially with clear nights. Radiational cooling always overperforms. So it's a very active state, kind of state of our country right now. So what are we going to talk about in the southeast? Okay, if you've been following the social media and stuff, there's been some interesting stuff. Okay, first off, you know what, we'll just jump to the GFS real quick. There is we'll go to RGEM. There's an interesting kind of threat. Okay, actually, let's do NAM. Why don't we do the NAM? We haven't done the NAM in a while. This is the 12 km. We'll just go down to 3 km. There's an interesting threat. Okay, with this low that's dropping through the central U.S. right here, you have it. Interesting weather. It spins. It gets south enough where you get some Gulf interaction with some moisture. There, not much. Northeast could watch out for some snow showers. But behind that, I might need to go to NAM 12 km just to get that extra range. Behind that, look at that. This is interesting, okay? A front drags south, stays south, situates itself through here, kind of your rain snow line here. Low forms along the boundary, heads somewhere in this direction. You get snow breaking out for portions of southern DMV through the Carolinas, Columbia, Charlotte, Raleigh, maybe Richmond, maybe even south of Richmond, Atlanta's right here. Through portions of, even Florida and Alabama. It's going to be very, very interesting, okay? Now, these storms up to trend north and west. Look how close it is to the I-95. DC, Baltimore, Philly, New York City, Boston. It's close. It goes like that. But it's close, okay? It's really close. And that's what I'm kind of going to go over today. So, European AI. This video is really the battle of the AI models versus the physics models. The physics-based models. Let's start with the AI European, okay? It does look like all rain, but this just shows precipitation, okay? Just generally say once you get that 540 or 534 line, that's basically where it's snowing. So, here's your Euro. Mainly, I'd say 534 just to be safe. Here's your Euro. Right here. Boom. Okay? Euro. AI. It's west enough. Nice west of I-95 mostly, where you get some snow for portions of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Same kind of down through here. Okay, through the Carolinas, except down here, precipitation isn't as expansive. It still kind of stays flat. Okay, you can see that. It doesn't really get going until it gets towards eastern Canada. Okay, that's the first thing. And, by the way, ahead of that, with this kind of low that's spinning through, we have to watch on the south side, or the eastern side, right in this area for snow. Even from DC to Philly to possibly New York City, and up through Boston even, because we'll have this little shortwave impulse. This is going to ride this way. How aggressive it is and how much snow you get out of that will be the determining factor on what happens behind with that bigger possible storm signal. Okay? If this is stronger, the first little impulse, this will likely kind of miss further out to sea. If it's not, this has a higher chance of trending north and west and getting closer. Okay? You don't really get it in between. Okay? So first of all, Euro, it's west. It gets, here, let's go here. It's west. It gets all of the I-95 mostly from Boston to DC in the snow. It's a little more flatter as you go south and east though. AIGFS, in my opinion, the most aggressive. Okay, most aggressive. Here it is. Here's your low. Here, I like this frame a lot. 1004. This still gets that snow through the southeast, but that precip shield is expansive. Okay, it is well north and west of I-95, so you get a light to moderate snowstorm at least a moderate snowstorm through portions of DC to Boston. Okay, we haven't had a coastal storm in so long, so this would satisfy many. Southeast also a little bit of snow. Columbia and north, I'd say, and north and east. Definitely the most aggressive. By the way, the reason I'm not showing ensembles are kind of fluttering around. They're kind of agreeing with their AI or physics counterparts. For example, Euro AI West showing snow. Ensembles support that. I don't think AIGFS has ensembles yet, but it kind of supports the Euro and Euro ensembles. AI. Okay? Now let's go to the Euro. Okay? What does the Euro show itself? Okay? The physics-based model. Here's your first impulse. Okay? It could get a little robust. We'll have to watch that. This is mainly Saturday morning through the afternoon. And look at your next low. Complete miss. Look at this. This is it right here, by the way. This is it right here. It is so flat. Okay, like this thing doesn't even develop into a storm until even past eastern Canada. Okay, barely any snow. Okay, maybe like at the extreme fringes. Why? Let's take a look at the VORT. Okay, let's just take a look at the Vort. It's so stringed out. Look how stringed out it is. It's positive the whole way through. Positive. It's still positive. Positive. It's positive almost the whole way through. Okay, then eventually goes negative, but even then the energy is weakening and so stringed out. So let's kind of take each 500 map. Okay, literally each one. We'll compare these all later. What about the GFS? Here's your first impulse of energy right there. This one a little more aggressive than the Euro. Okay, I mean brings snow for the south and east. 95 though, it really misses. It's still pretty flat. Okay, better than the Euro though, at least when it comes to developing storm. Okay, so if we're going to kind of take a little 500 peak there, boom. So here are your models. Okay, medium / long range. Euro AI, AI GFS, Euro GFS. What do I see off the bat? First of all, Euro AI and AI GFS, what you have is this trough is neutral at the least. Okay, why is AI GFS more aggressive? Well, first of all, the trough digs a little more signs of negative and the energy is stronger. Okay, that's why you get a little more expansion of the precip shield. But generally, they look in agreement. Okay, you have a neutral to going negative trough with solid piece of energy, not super strong, but it's there. And so since it's already neutral / negative, it's able to gain some latitude and bring some snow for like these areas. Okay, and coastal, of course. Okay. What about Euro and GFS? Right off the bat, let's compare Euro. Look at this. Stringed out. Okay, it's not some consolidated shortwave trough. This is just a string of energy. As simple as that. It's a string of energy. You don't even get a trough alignment, but I would say this is positive-ish. And so it's just a string of energy. Even if this was negative, I mean, string of energy is not really going to do you any good. Okay, so this just gets all pushed out. This whole junk of mess. Okay, so and the GFS generally agrees with that too, except here you get a little curve here, so your shortwave is trying to get going here. Still kind of positively tilted though, so it generally gets kicked out. But that's why it does show a little more snow getting thrown onto the eastern seaboard. So those are your kind of 4 model comparisons. Let's talk about short range, okay? Because we are getting in a short range, okay? This storm is not far away, and so it's really going to be interesting to see how it evolves, okay? So here's your 18Z NAM. I think earlier I was showing like the 12Z. Here's 18Z. And this storm, honestly, I like how this kind of shows it, honestly. Shows snow, honestly, okay, for Southeast, I don't know if it'll be this aggressive. I'll talk about who I think is right later, but it shows, I mean, snow through the Carolinas, Georgia, South Carolina. By the way, these are not all, even through Florida, portions of Alabama, extreme southeastern Alabama, eastern Alabama-ish. I will say this is not, and into Alabama. Okay, so I will say this is not a forecast, though. Okay, NAM, if you know how the NAM is. Okay, it's always aggressive, especially for the southeast here. For northeast, I-95 peeps, further north, it's close. Okay, DC, Baltimore, Philly, New York City, through Boston. Boston gets some, but this generally stays south and east of you guys. Okay, coastal areas could cash in with some. So NAM, honestly, I wouldn't disregard NAM as to its northeastern solution. That's honestly what I do think could happen. I'll talk about that more later. I do think it's a little aggressive on the southeast, though. RGEM, kind of the opposite, I'd say. You already got a sneak peek. Here's our impulse of energy right here Saturday. I mean, we can honestly get a quick zoom in on that. Some uncertainty to how strong this burst is, but I mean, here's the morning. Here you could get a little snow showers and then a little burst here, 10 a.m. Portions DC could honestly have some mix. Could be a little warm, but especially north, you can get some snow there. And then here comes your little snow system here. Okay, this is north. That almost entire portions of South Carolina, Georgia, you're all rain. Okay, same with North Carolina, unless you're like Piedmont or near mountains. Okay, here though, it brings in nice, solid, light at least snowstorm from DC, Philly, almost in New York City. It could be start out with some rain actually, kind of how we did have. But here it brings that snow. You get some back building too, because you get another low to develop right off here, and it trails this low. And so this could generally drop around 2 to 4 inches. Not saying that's a forecast, but I'm just showing the contrast. Okay, so if we were to kind of compare this to NAM, big difference. Okay, big difference with the NAM. Boom, boom. Okay. Low is, and if we were to, if oh my goodness, if you want to quickly look at the surface map real quick. Or sorry, surface map. The 500 millibar map. There you have it. Okay. Here's your NAM. This does dig, but it's a stringed out piece of energy. Okay. At this point, I'd care less about the trough tilt. I mean, I'd still want it neutral to negative, but I mean, it's really just the stringed out energy. Look at the RGEM. Here is actually kind of interesting. Here, it's not as stringed out. It's definitely still a string of energy. If you were to take all this energy away here, it would probably look like the NAM. But you have this like curve right here. So your energy overall is through here. You get a little shortwave, and it's not much, but it's able to produce a much different outcome at the surface. So finally, what do I think? I think it could be NAM. Now, it's really uncertain. I could see it trending either way. For I-95 could get snow, Southeast gets nothing, vice versa. But I would favor a northwest trend slightly. Why? Okay, this is why. Okay, here, I need to see if we can get to, I think it was no, it's not 850s. It's 500 millibars. Let me go to 500 millibars. Okay, look, this is why. Let's go right to here. Here's a Sunday. Okay, let me get my thoughts together. So basically, right, you don't really have, for Southeast snow prospects or lovers, you don't really have a high up here. Okay, you don't. It's there, but it's very, very weak. Okay, and so no blocking high. Here you obviously have your Atlantic Ridge kind of flexing, so you have no 50-50 low, and so it doesn't. And your NAO, I mean, if you really want to go see right now, here we'll just take the whole zoomed out picture of North America. Your negative NAO is barely hanging on for dear life through here. Okay, Atlantic Ridge dominating 50-50 low. Any shot is east of Greenland, so I wouldn't even. That's not a 50-50 low. And your blocking eye is weak to nothing over here. Okay, so what does that mean? That works in the Northeast Mid-Atlantic's favor. Usually you'd want the storm if you'd want a 50-50. You would want a negative NAO. You'd want a high in place to help keep cold air locked and get some blockbuster ratios and stuff. But your trough axis is already not ideal, so you have to make adjustments. You have to sacrifice, okay? And so without a 50-50 low, with a weak negative NAO and with the very, very barely existing blocking high, your low can go from here to like here pretty quickly. Okay, like this how it could trend northwest, especially with that blocking high. There's nothing suppressing it super far off the coast, and so since it's so non-existent, couple ticks and you can get it hugging the coast. And 50-50 low is also not gonna prevent it from tracking so east. Okay, like you won't see it coming here just because you don't have a blocking high here. You have a ridge, and I mean this almost goes into hurricane season. Ridge around flow goes like this, trough goes like this ish. Okay, this is kind of bad drawing. But this ridge, overall, this ridge right here prevents the low from just going like that. You know, it has to kind of swing and gain some sort of latitude. So that's one. And negative NAO kind of plays in role with that as well. So that's what I think. NAM 12KM probably the closest I'd say to solution, but I don't even think that's close. Okay, mainly for the Northeast Mid-Atlantic. Southeast, it's gonna be close. It's very uncertain. I'd say by tomorrow night, much better idea, because that's also wind. Or tomorrow night, I'd say better idea, but especially I'd say midday Saturdays when you have the best idea, because you also have that shortwave expected to impact the mid-Atlantic Northeast. That'll pass, and so your data will get better sampled, and then you'll see. But even by tomorrow evening, you should have a pretty good idea of what could happen. So we'll wait to then to get some more confidence. Until then, thanks for watching the video. Again, remember to share with your friends, family, whoever else, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.